Mornings in Blono will never be the same. This is the Scott Miller Show on FM 102.1 and AM 1230 WJBC.
FM 102.1 and AM 1230 WJBC. This is the Scott Miller Show. My next guest is your congressman serving the 17th Congressional District. I'd like to welcome in studio Congressman Eric Sorensen. Good morning, sir.
Good to be with you in the WJBC World Headquarters.
Look at this. What?
You got good digs in here.
What are you doing here? Why are you in studio? Why are you in Central Illinois? I know you represent us, but shouldn't you be in D.C. trying to figure things out?
Well, no. So here's the thing is everybody loves to hate a politician that makes promises, right? You know, it's kind of like a weatherman promising that the weather's going to be nice today. But, I think a year ago, I said, you know what, we should do this in person. You know, I want to come to Bloomington and do this in person. Here we are. Let's do it.
Do you have stuff going on here, or did you just come for the Scott Miller Show?
No, we had a full day planned yesterday. We were in Peoria all day, so it was wheels up in the morning. We stopped on a farm outside of Gilson, Illinois, to talk about make sure that we get the funding so that farmers can make the right decisions to get solar where they want it. Not necessarily if they don't want to put it on a field. I don't want to see farmland that's covered up with solar panels. It's me personally. Also, that's what I hear from farmers. So making sure that we get the right things. I've got called the Sunray Act, which is going to actually help farmers make good decisions on where to put solar. To make a long story short, I wanted to talk with the homeless people in Peoria. I serve them too. Maybe they don't vote for me. They don't have jobs. They don't have addresses. You can't get a voter's card unless you have an address. But they're still constituents of mine, so I want to talk with them. And then we continued on. We had an app challenge, a Congressional app challenge. We had a young man who built an app. He's in high school. And it's an app to help businesses connect with food banks and the food that they're going to throw away. And then today we've got a full day at OSF, and I could go on and on and on.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about a handful of things. Let's just get the uncomfortable one out right now.
There's nothing going on in the world right now.
Well, no, listen, it's you politicians wasting our money. These congressional pins, are you familiar with? Yeah.
Well, I got mine.
Okay, now hold on. Here's what I know to be true. Every 2 years, Congress gets a new lapel pin.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that the lapel pins that you guys got last year, 1 year ago, someone thinks that green pin is ugly, and they've spent $40,000 to get you all new pins.
Right.
The stupidest thing I've heard in my life.
Right. So here's the thing. So every 2 years, the congressional pin, which I'm holding up right now. So this year's pin, or this 118th Congress, it's got the number 118 on the bottom of it. Okay. So the 118th Congress, someone decided that they were going to have a green pin. Now, for me, what I like to say, this is John Deere green. You know, I got Deere and Company headquartered in our district. Green, this is great. But some people thought, oh, it's green as in green and environmental, and we hate it. So now it's got to be this navy blue color. But then they had to send it out. They had to have a jeweler make 435 of them, and it was just a waste of money.
$40,000.
Right.
When in a year you would get another new pin.
Right. Right.
It drives me nuts. I asked Congressman Darren LaHood about it. I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah.
It's a $40,000 in the grand scheme of things, of the money that Congress deals with, is a drop in the bucket, but it just makes people go, what are y'all doing out there?
Well, especially if you have a member of Congress that says, let's cut waste. Let's find the waste where we see it, and let's cut it out. And then you can't say that and then add, one of these types of projects just for political points, I guess.
All right, let's talk about something a little more important, the southern border. I asked Senator Dick Durbin about this earlier this week. I've talked to you about it repeatedly. Former President Trump wanted a wall. Democrats went nuts. No wall! Now people are flooding into our country. I've talked to you about this many times. Mm-hmm. Is there a fix? And what is holding up the fix? I'm tired of asking you about the southern border.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we need a secure southern border. I hear from people, constituents, I'm concerned about it. I introduced legislation. Well, first, I'm going to take you back before then. I brought the FBI into my office on Capitol Hill, and I said, educate me on what the problem is. Okay? The problem, quite simply today, imagine if you're going to Walmart and you have one lane open, okay, and you have 100 people in that Walmart waiting in line. You could probably expect that some of those people, they're going to walk right out the door. We have to make sure that we have the Customs and Border Protection agents there to open up the lanes for people who want to do this legally. We don't have enough people. And so I have a piece of legislation that would hire more Customs CBP officers. Okay, then the fentanyl that's coming across the border, it's a huge problem today. Okay, we have to understand that it's coming from China. A lot of it's coming in container ships that come through Long Beach, California. But some does come from the southern border, too. We need to use technology to find it. So I have more legislation on that. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we have comprehensive border protection. We have to have the bipartisan immigration talks that are going on in the Senate right now. I think these are great. In the Senate, we've got Democrats and Republicans working to solve the problem. Then it comes to the House, and then we've got to solve the problem. But to your point, what happens today is people are just scoring political points for this. Now we have people that are saying, "Oh, I don't even. We got a big problem, but no, I don't want to solve it because I don't want to give any points to my opponent." Come on. We work for the American people.
We're tired of hearing you guys talking about it. Both sides of the aisle want a fix to this. So I just, in a month, when you come back on, I don't want to get an update on the southern border, but I feel it's just going to be an endless conversation because, you're saying we need more staff, we need more people,
right.
We need more points of entry that are controlled. Well, that's all got to cost something. That's going to cost money to hire those people but we're spending all this time now talking about cost cutting. That's why we can't agree to a budget. It just seems like an endless cycle of debauchery.
Yeah. So I recently signed on to the Dignity Act. So, anybody out there can Google Dignity Act of 2023 because that's the comprehensive immigration reform that we need. And it's also bipartisan. So there are Republicans and Democrats that have signed on to this that increases funding for border security. It means that there's a legal pathway for the people who want to do this the right way. Because imagine that somebody who has a legal path can't get into the United States right now. So when they're forced to do the illegal path, maybe they had the right way. And so there's a lot of different issues here, but we need that solution. And the Dignity Act is a big piece of that.
Joining me in studio, Congressman Eric Sorensen. I want to know, let's lighten it up a little bit here. How has your life changed? You were a weatherman, and then you became a politician. What has been the biggest change for you personally?
Happened yesterday, where I looked at a picture that my team had posted, and I don't have any brown hair anymore. Like, it's gone.
Is that because you quit buying Clairol hair rinse, or is that because of the stress of your job?
I was like, you know what? I've always said, I'm like, I don't care if these hairs come in gray as long as they're coming in. That's the thing that I always said. But look, I mean, this job is different for each individual. Okay. Nobody gives you a guidebook when you get to Congress on how to do this job. Okay. You have to learn how to do it. And so you don't have much time to do it. So you have to make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. But I know you get Senator Durbin on the air. Did I ever tell you the advice that he gave me on the first day?
No.
So I was elected. And then if I had the opportunity, he called me and congratulated me. And I thought to myself, I have the senior senator, right? He is the Democratic whip in the Senate. And I said, how are you going to quantify my success? It surely can't be winning every 2 years. And he said, no, you're right. He goes, it's that I will look and see what are you doing, and are you doing it for the people that you serve? And he goes, you don't serve the people in Washington, D.C. You serve the people of Illinois.
Love it. Okay, I've got a very goofy question to ask you right now. If I was to ask you to get the President of the United States on the phone, how long would it take for that to happen? Right now, if I was to say, Congressman, Can you get the president on the phone? What steps need to be taken? Do you call somebody in your office and then they call somebody in the White? Tell me how that works.
Right. So we have a liaison, a White House liaison. So and I've had meetings with administration at the White House. And, part of this was to keep that Chrysler plant, that Jeep plant open in Belvidere, Illinois. It's just outside of the district up near Rockford. Right. And so I worked with the administration to make sure that we were going to the Department of Energy to get the funding that we needed to keep that plant open. Instead of 800 people, now we have 5,000 coming back to that facility. So what would it take? It would take a couple of phone calls and a really good reason, which WJBC. I mean,
no, I don't want to call him right now, but I was just wondering. I mean, you are a Congress. You are like one or two steps away from having a conversation with the president. You told me you've flown on Air Force One and didn't call your mother, and all of these things. I just wonder how easy is it to get in touch, whether the president's Democrat or Republican, for you to get in touch with him or her for some reason.
Yeah. It's a couple of phone calls. I will tell you that, even though I'm a Democrat, I can walk right into the Speaker of the House's office, and we have that. I don't want to say we have a friendship; we have a working relationship. Because that's how it's got to be. And
I don't think everybody has that. Though.
No. I mean, there's a lot of people in Washington that are just, I'll just say it to you, they're partisan hacks. These are people just trying to toe the line instead of working for the people. I think 85% of the people in Congress are there to do right by the people, though.
Well, before I let you go, the last topic
already
I want to talk to you about. Yeah, listen.
Wait a minute. I thought we were going to do traffic and weather. And,
time flies when you're having fun. Here's what I want to tell you. I love when politics works, but I feel so much of it is one side or the other trying to make a huge deal out of something to make the other side look bad. But if the scripts were flipped, that side would do the same thing to the other side and try to use it to tear the other party or other person down. And I think over the years, everyday regular people that aren't watching the news channels nonstop every day and really dissecting every word out of every human, I think it makes us not trust any of you because of these instances that have been happening for decades. But you have to win the next election. They have to win the next election. So all you got to do is bring down the other side. Instead of celebrating your accomplishments and what you've done for us, you guys spend time saying, here's what they didn't do for you. And it's annoying.
I agree. So number one, I got to make the case that people should elect me again. But being now an incumbent, I hope people are learning that I'm working for them, right? And I'm not just working for one political party or one group of people. But then number two, I think this is the most important thing, is we need to talk about politics less, but we need to talk about our values more. Because when we start talking about what we value, we're going to find that there's so many things that are more alike than they're different. And I know that because I got a diverse neighborhood, and we don't necessarily talk about politics, but we talk about the values of our neighborhood, right? And I think we're all going to be better off. And heading into this, going to be a crazy election season. If you thought 2023 was crazy in Congress, 2024, it's going to be a hold my beer moment. But I think if we take it upon ourselves, this year, maybe that's my New Year's resolution. I hate making those. It's to talk about our values more. And then another thing, it's to make sure that, you have a mustache that really is going to be great.
He's wearing a fake mustache, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the Scott Miller mustache. Listen, I think I might like you now. Even though you're a politician, I think you may get the Scott Miller stamp of approval.
Doesn't match my gray hair, though.
We can get some Clairol for that. Good. Don't worry about it. Congressman Eric Sorensen, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for coming in studio. I appreciate it. Now go back and get to work for us.
You got it.
All right. It's FM 102.1. It's AM 1230. It's WJBC.